I agreed to transfer schools with my childhood best friend to help her escape the bullies, but she bailed the day before we were supposed to sign the papers. I overheard her friend teasing her outside a private dining room at an upscale restaurant. "You really pulled it off," she said, laughing. "Pretending to get bullied all this time just to get Nathan Cross to leave. But he's been your shadow since kindergarten. Are you sure you want to go to a new school all alone?" Maya's voice was flat, bored. "It's just another high school in the same city. How far could he possibly go?" She paused, then added with unmistakable irritation, "Besides, I'm sick of him clinging to me all the time. This is for the best." I stood outside the door for a long time before I finally turned and walked away. The only change was on my transfer application. I crossed out Riverside Academy and wrote in the name of the prestigious boarding school in Geneva my parents had been pushing on me for years. Everyone seemed to forget that she and I were always worlds apart. When I first heard the truth, my heart seized in my chest. For the past month, it had been one thing after another for Maya. Vicious rumors, getting shoved in the halls, her textbooks mysteriously destroyed. I did everything I could to protect her, to be there for her, but I couldn't be everywhere at once. I couldn't take it anymore. I suggested we transfer together. I remember that day clearly. Someone had just thrown a slushie on her in the cafeteria. Her pretty face was pale and miserable, and she grabbed my hand, her eyes wide with fear. "Nathan," she whispered, "I'm scared to go to a new place alone." Maya and I had been inseparable since kindergarten. We walked to school together, did our homework together. For more than a decade, she was my constant, and somewhere along the way, I had fallen quietly in love with her. So in a rush of protectiveness, I made her a promise. "Don't be scared," I said. "Wherever you go, I'll go with you." Only now did I realize it was all an elaborate act, a performance staged for my benefit, just to get me to leave. A bitter question formed in my mind. Did Maya really hate me that much? Inside the private room, the conversation continued. "You've got Nathan wrapped around your finger, that's for sure. Aren't you worried he'll meet someone else at the new school?" Maya let out a sharp, dismissive laugh as if it were the funniest thing she'd ever heard. "He's the guy who took on 3 seniors for me, remember? He got his ass kicked and didn't even flinch. You really think a new zip code is going to change how he feels about me?" Someone else murmured, "What if though? Nathan doesn't exactly seem like a pushover." Maya's voice was lazy, confident. "There is no what if. Riverside is full of gorgeous girls. When have you ever seen him look at anyone but me?" The contempt in her tone was impossible to miss. "He just follows me around all day. A lost puppy is less clingy than him." A wave of laughter erupted from the room, each sound like a slap across my face. I wanted to leave, but my feet felt bolted to the floor, forcing me to listen, forcing me to feel every ounce of the pain. Someone else chimed in, sounding impressed. "I've never seen a girl actively push away a guy who's crazy about her. We're in awe. But if you didn't like him being so attached, why not just tell him? Nathan doesn't seem like the type to cause a scene." Maya sighed, an edge of irritation in her voice. "Nathan's too intense. A clean break would have caused huge drama." Her tone shifted. "Besides, Adrian gets so insecure and upset whenever Nathan's around. He only feels better when it's just me. For Adrian's sake, I had to do it this way. Nathan will just have to be miserable for a little while." As soon as she said it, everything clicked into place for the others in the room. Thinking back, Maya had started her bullying charade exactly 1 week after Adrian Stone transferred to our school. One of the girls laughed. "Damn, Maya, you work fast. The new emo boy barely gets his locker assignment and you're already hooked. You can't deny it though. Adrian has that whole wounded bird thing down. He's so delicate and artistic, it makes you want to protect him. Yeah, not like Nathan. He's got that permanent scowl, keeps everyone at a distance. Doesn't matter how handsome he is if he looks like he's about to murder someone." The casual insults kept coming, wave after wave, washing over me. And Maya, the girl I'd secretly loved for years, didn't defend me, didn't object. She just laughed along, even agreeing with them from time to time. Standing there in the hallway, my heart plunged into a cold, empty abyss. The pain was dull and suffocating. For a split second, I wanted to throw open the door and confront her. Ask her why she lied to me. Ask her if she felt even a flicker of guilt watching me get into fights to defend her honor. Ask her if our entire friendship, over a decade of history, meant anything at all. But then my mother's voice echoed in my head, a constant refrain from my childhood. Don't engage in pointless drama. People don't just turn rotten overnight. I turned my back on the room and walked away. The pain was a slow burn, creeping up on me when I was alone. I could have handled it if it were just a friend betrayal. That hurts, but you move on. The problem was Maya was the one who had blurred that line. The day we decided to transfer, she dragged me to a bar to celebrate our escape. Under the dim-colored lights, I looked at the girl I'd loved for so long and felt a dizzying sense of hope. So when she leaned in and kissed me, I didn't pull away. Years of repressed feelings surged to the surface. Overwhelmed, I had to know. Maya, I whispered against her lips, what are we now? She smiled and kissed my forehead gently. Silly, what do you think we are? Our friends cheered and the energy in the room was electric, matching the frantic beat of my heart. I never imagined that just 2 days later I would hear her shatter that perfect moment with her own words. A bitter laugh escaped my lips, but tears streamed down my face. So that kiss, that vague promise, it was all just another lie, wasn't it? A way to keep me placated until she could ship me off and make room for Adrian. A wind chime hanging in my bedroom window tinkled softly, the sound a stark contrast to my silent grief. Slowly, my shattered heart began to reassemble itself, but into something colder, harder. Maya was wrong about one thing. She was just the illegitimate daughter of the Bennett family. I am the sole heir to the Cross fortune. We were never supposed to be clinging to each other because we were never a match. The transfer application on my desk was smeared where my tears had fallen, the ink bleeding into an ugly stain. It didn't matter. I could just get a new one. The Cross family always has a backup plan. I printed a fresh copy. When I got to the line for the destination school, I paused and called my mother. Mom, I said, that boarding school you mentioned, the one in Geneva. What was the name again? Yes, I confirmed. I'll be going alone. The wind chime sang a clear, bright tune, as if celebrating for me. I closed my eyes, and for the first time in a long time, it wasn't Maya's face I saw. It was another girl, one who resembled Maya but whose smile was warmer, more genuine. A memory from 2 years ago surfaced. Her voice full of confidence and a hint of challenge. Nathan Cross, she had said, sooner or later, you're going to give up on Maya Bennett and choose me. I thought she was joking back then. Now, I whispered the words to myself in the quiet of my room. Maya, I'm really letting you go. After filling out the new form, I breathed a long sigh of relief. A strange sense of peace settled over me. Just then, there was a knock on my front door. I froze. I lived in this condo alone, and the only person who knew the keypad code was. I opened the door. Of course, it was Maya. Her voice was as gentle as ever. Nathan, you left without saying goodbye to everyone. I was worried. I kept my own voice as steady as I could. I wasn't feeling well. My stomach, I was about to ask her to leave when I saw a figure hiding behind her. Adrian Stone, looking small and frail, flinched when his eyes met mine. Maya immediately noticed, pulling him protectively closer. Nathan, she said, her voice sharp with disapproval, you're scaring him. It was always like this. Adrian always acted as if I were some kind of monster about to attack him, and I hadn't even done anything. My expression hardened. I've told you before, I don't like people showing up at my place unannounced. Maya frowned, annoyed. Adrian isn't just people, and he only came because he was worried about you too. Before I could respond, Adrian's eyes welled up with tears. Nathan, I'm sorry, he sniffled. I know you've always looked down on me, but I swear I shower every day. He looked down, his voice thick with fake misery. I wouldn't have gotten your place dirty. Maya's face instantly hardened as she glared at me. Nathan, Adrian's family doesn't have a lot of money, but that doesn't make him dirty. He's not what you think. You're being a real disappointment right now. Adrian tugged on Maya's sleeve, his voice a perfect blend of magnanimity and martyrdom. Maya, it's okay. Really, please don't fight with Nathan because of me. He sniffled again, forcing a brave, trembling smile. Besides, he's right. You two have known each other forever. How could I ever compare to that? Don't say that. You're one of a kind, Maya cooed, cupping his face in her hands and comforting him in a soft whisper. Then she turned back to me, her expression turning to ice. Adrian's not feeling well. I'm taking him home. You need to stay here and think about your attitude. And don't forget, we have to get those transfer forms stamped tomorrow. I did think about it. I thought about how incredibly poor my judgment had been. Then I walked to the front door and changed the keypad code. For the first time all night, the knot of anger in my chest loosened just a little. The next day, I took my new application to the principal's office. As I watched the red ink of the school's official stamp press firmly onto the paper, sealing my departure, I felt a sudden sharp pang of emptiness. I was still staring at the form when someone stepped in front of me, blocking my path. It was Maya, and she was frowning. Nathan, did you change the code to your condo? I took Adrian home last night and came right back, but the door wouldn't open. I cut her off. Yes, I did. She seemed annoyed but tried to act like nothing was wrong, her voice slipping back into its familiar, intimate tone. What's the new code? I'll need it so I can come over and take care of you. That won't be necessary, I said calmly. After I transfer, I won't be living there anymore. Maya's eyes fell to the folded application in my hand, and she feigned a moment of realization. All right, I almost forgot about this. Don't worry, Nathan. I'll get mine stamped tomorrow. Walking and talking with Maya like this used to be our daily routine, but it had become a rarity since Adrian showed up. I closed my eyes for a second, giving into a final foolish flicker of hope. I decided to test her one last time. There's no need for "don't worry" between us, I said, the words heavy with our shared history. Maya was silent for a long moment. Then she started, Nathan, actually. Suddenly, Adrian appeared behind her, clutching a stack of notebooks. He pouted playfully. Maya, I thought we were going to study. You just disappeared. He held the notebooks out to her. I saw the 2-month tutoring plan you made for me, so I got all the materials ready. He winked. You're not mad I peeked, are you? Of course not. Maya's smile was strained. She shot a nervous glance at me. When she saw my blank expression, a flicker of what looked like disappointment crossed her face. So while you were pushing me away, you were already planning a future with someone else. A future that never included me. I struggled to keep my face neutral, but a bitter taste spread through my mouth. I dug my nails into my palm, forcing myself back to reality. You two talk. I have to go. Adrian acted like he just noticed me, jumping back dramatically. Nathan, are you upset because I'm studying with Maya? It's just my family is poor. I don't have access to the same resources you do. He started to sniffle again. I had no interest in being part of his pathetic melodrama. Move, I said, my voice cold. The faint trace of guilt in Maya's eyes vanished, replaced by anger. She grabbed my wrist. Nathan Cross, what is that tone? She tried to drag me in front of Adrian. Apologize to him. Now. The last clean, untouched part of my heart crumbled into dust. This time I didn't hesitate. I raised my hand and slapped her across the face. Maya, I said, my voice shaking with rage, the only person who needs to apologize here is you. But not to him. To me. One by one, I went through the things Maya had given me over the years. The silk tie for my 18th birthday. I wore it to school once, and a week later, Adrian was wearing the exact same one. He blushed and said, Maya told me that anything other people have, I can have too. The limited edition collectible figure, now just an empty box. Maya had taken the figure, claiming she loved the scent of the cologne I'd sprayed on it. The next day, I saw it sitting on Adrian's desk. The custom-made leather shoes for my graduation. The deep blue aromatherapy diffuser. All the things I thought were special, unique gifts meant only for me had been freely given to someone else. No, not even freely. It wasn't equal. I thought about the way Maya coddled Adrian, the way she defended his every move, no matter how manipulative. A cynical smile touched my lips. If that was the case, then none of these things belonged here anymore. I booked a flight for the next morning, planning to spend my last night in peace. At 2 a.m., my phone rang, jolting me awake. I groggily answered it. The line was silent. I was about to hang up when I heard Maya's voice. "Nathan, I'm sorry." My mind snapped into focus. Was she finally going to tell me the truth? "Adrian, he hurt himself," she said, her voice heavy. "He tried to. I can't leave him alone right now. So the transfer application, I'll have to do it later." The hope that had flared in my chest crashed and burned, leaving me feeling pathetic and ridiculous. I wanted to scream at her. What about all the crap I went through for your fake bullying? The fights I got into, the stress, the worry. What was all that for? Maya's voice cut through my thoughts. "You should apologize." I was sure I'd misheard her. "What did you say?" Her voice was firm. "Nathan Cross, you need to apologize to Adrian. Are you going to stand there and tell me what he did had nothing to do with you?" I was speechless because I suddenly understood that as long as Adrian was in the picture, everything I said or did would be wrong. Maya spoke again, her tone dripping with ice. "Nathan, you are such a disappointment. If you apologize, I can pretend none of this ever happened. I'll join you at the new school in a couple of months. Are you really going to be this stubborn? Are you going to throw away everything we've had for all these years?" I heard the threat in her voice, but this time there was no pain, no resentment, just a profound sense of exhaustion. I hung up the phone, blocked her number, deleted her contact. I couldn't wait for my flight in the morning. The crisp Swiss air felt clean and new. Someone took my suitcase. I looked up and met the eyes of the Bennett family's legitimate daughter. "Nathan Cross," she said with a small, knowing smile, "long time no see." I held out my hand. "Long time no see, Sophia Loren." My phone buzzed, interrupting us. I glanced at the screen. It was a call from one of Maya's friends. I answered, confused. Maya's voice, sharp and anxious, came through the speaker. "Nathan, what class are you in at Riverside? Why is it that I've asked around and nobody in the entire school has seen you?" Before I could answer, Sophia's clear voice cut in. "Nathan, should I take you on a tour of your new campus?" Her expression was perfectly innocent, as if she were just being helpful. Maya's voice shot up an octave. "Nathan, are you with Sophia Loren? Where the hell are you?" I held the phone away from my ear, realizing for the first time how grating Maya's voice could be. "Where I am," I said coolly, "is none of your business." She seemed to ignore me, her voice filled with disbelief. "You ran off to find her just to spite me? You're that desperate for revenge that you'd stoop to hanging out with trash like that?" As her words grew uglier, my patience snapped. "Shut up." I took a deep breath, my voice hard and final. "Maya, you're the one who's trash. Don't call me again. Whatever we were, it's over." I hung up and immediately blocked the new number. The world felt quiet again. "Sorry," I said to Sophia, a little embarrassed. "You shouldn't have had to hear that." Sophia just smiled. "Then you can buy me dinner to make up for it." She winked. "Consider it a thank you gift." I relaxed, returning her smile. Of course. The two Bennett daughters really were night and day. Years ago, Maya's father had an affair. The mistress gave birth to Maya and moved into the family home. Sophia's mother, the original Mrs. Bennett, responded with blistering efficiency. She not only divorced him and took the majority of the family's assets, but she also took Sophia, who was already showing signs of being a business prodigy. From that day on, Sophia Bennett became Sophia Loren, taking her mother's surname and moving abroad. My own mother always spoke of Sophia and her mom with deep respect, noting that after Mrs. Loren left, the Bennett family business had been in steady decline. The heiress title that Maya wore so proudly was attached to an empty shell. Whenever the topic came up, my mom would sigh. "It's just a shame our Nathan is so soft-hearted. He had to fall for Maya." Back then, I just felt sorry for Maya, believing she couldn't choose the circumstances of her birth. I was grateful my mother respected my feelings. Only now did I realize how much clearer an adult's perspective can be. The alpine breeze felt cool against my face, clearing my head. I shook away the thoughts and looked at the road ahead. This doesn't look like the way to a restaurant, I noted. Sophia smiled. I'm under direct orders from Mrs. Cross. You'll have to forgive me. I chuckled and turned to watch the sunset paint the mountains. Building something real. The car pulled up to a discreet, stunningly modern villa. My new school was really just a formality. Sophia and I had both been groomed since birth to take over our respective family empires. It wasn't long before we started receiving invitations to exclusive business events. Wearing a black tux my mom had picked out, I navigated the clinking champagne glasses and polite conversation until I saw Sophia. She was in a gorgeous couture gown, but what stood out against her calm demeanor was the vibrant violet orchid pinned to her shoulder. The person I was talking with took the hint and excused himself. We really need to stop coordinating, I said with a sigh. It's getting obvious. That dinner, which our mothers somehow tried to frame as an engagement party for the two of us, became a running joke. We were adults. We weren't going to be pushed into anything. We played along, assuming it was just our moms having fun. We underestimated their determination. My mother would send me a new watch from a designer's Metamorphosis collection. A few days later, Sophia would receive the matching women's version from her mother. Mrs. Laurent would gift Sophia a pair of diamond earrings. Before my next big negotiation, my mom would present me with matching cufflinks. I was getting used to it, but this time was different. Sophia looked me straight in the eye and said, her voice low and serious, "What if I told you that this time I'm a willing participant?" She took a step closer, her voice like cool water creating a stir in the quiet depths of my heart. What if I have been every single time? Golden fireworks exploded over the cruise ship's deck. Looking in her clear, unwavering eyes, I felt my heart skip a beat. And just like that, everything with Sophia felt easy, natural, and right. After our engagement party, my family arranged for me to do an internship at our company's headquarters back in the States. My mom was already planning our future. You two can handle the domestic operations, and your mother-in-law and I will take over the world. My dad just grumbled for me to keep an eye on my mom so Mrs. Laurent didn't steal her away. I boarded the plane home, smiling at the thought. As she saw me off, Sophia pressed one of the bells from her wind chime into my palm. She had always been so composed and proper around me, but this was her way of telling me she'd miss me. After several months away, my old life at Riverside High felt like a distant memory. When a friend from home sent me our senior class photo, the one taken without me, it felt like looking at a scene from another lifetime. In the picture, Maya and Adrian stood side by side. They looked good together, I suppose. I glanced at their smiling faces and felt nothing. My friend texted me, still annoyed on my behalf. We were so bummed when you left, but now I'm glad you got out. You have no idea what a nightmare Adrian became. With Maya backing him up, he acted like he owned the place. After you left, he started spreading all these rumors about you. A few of us tried to set the record straight, but it was impossible. And Maya, that idiot, just let him. She defended him no matter what. I mean, we all know he's a snake, but you and her had history. How could she side with him? I typed back with a sigh. I guess in her mind, I was the bad guy. I frowned slightly. I don't remember Adrian being that bold before. My friend, seizing the chance to vent, sent a barrage of screenshots. See for yourself. They were all from Adrian's Instagram. The first one read, "Thanks to you, my 18th birthday wasn't as pathetic as it could have been." 2 photos were attached. One was a shot of Maya kneeling, carefully helping him put on a new pair of expensive dress shoes. The other was a group photo, but angled just so you could see me in the background, sweaty and exhausted from managing the event for the student council. It must have taken some effort for him to capture me at my worst. The second post, she said to forgive her for not being strong enough, and that next time she'll give me a new one. My girl, I'll never blame you for what arrogant people do. The picture was of a familiar limited edition collectible figure sitting without its box. The third, her restraint will always be her most attractive quality. My girl, after we graduate, you won't have to be the one keeping me company at night anymore. The photo showed the corner of a deep blue aromatherapy diffuser. I skimmed through them, disgusted, until the last post made me stop scrolling. The caption, "You're all mine now." The picture was a photo of blood-stained bed sheets. My friend's next text came through. He was dropping hints for months, trying to paint you as the obsessive third wheel and make it seem like he and Maya were this tragic secret couple. I guess he got pissed when you didn't react. I smirked. It wasn't entirely a lie. Maya had wanted to have it both ways, enjoying my devotion and Adrian's sycophantic admiration at the same time. Then after graduation, he straight up drugged her. My fingers froze over the keyboard. He did what? Yeah, the text came back, full of indignation. The story got everywhere. Once their relationship was official, Adrian's ego exploded. But seriously, posting a pic of the bed sheets. So trashy. I bet Maya regrets everything. I typed back, "Thanks for having my back." Seriously. But don't worry about it anymore. If it happens again, I'll just have my lawyers handle it. We chatted for a bit longer. His last message was, "Good. I'm glad you're really over it. Maya didn't deserve you." I paused. Yeah, I typed, and I realized it was true. There was nothing left. The girl I had once loved with everything I had was now just a piece of gossip, a story from a past life. Time really does heal everything. The company headquarters was in my hometown, so I drove to my old condo to pick up some files. My mom had bought the place for me, a nice townhouse with a small garden, so I'd have a comfortable place to stay. I pushed open the gate but froze as I went to type in the keypad code for the front door. There was someone sitting on the porch steps. She looked up and I was met with a pair of red-rimmed, swollen eyes. I frowned. "Maya, how did you get in here?" My eyes fell to her bruised knees and my frown deepened. "Did you climb the gate? What do you want?" She just stared at me. Her voice was raspy when she finally spoke. "Nathan, you've lost weight." I had no idea what she was trying to accomplish with this bizarre small talk. I turned to leave. Suddenly, she lunged forward and grabbed me, her grip so tight it felt like she was trying to crush my arm. The self-defense training I'd taken kicked in instinctively. I broke her hold and shoved her away, wiping my arm with a feeling of disgust. "Maya," I said coldly, "have some self-respect." She let out a low, humorless laugh. "You're telling me to have self-respect? Nathan Cross, after everything you and Sophia Loren did overseas, you have the nerve to say that to me?" Her voice rose to a frantic yell, years of repressed frustration finally breaking through. "Do you have any idea what you did to me? I've been going crazy looking for you." I slapped her hard. There was no hesitation, no mercy. "Keep your voice down and your accusations to yourself." Seeing her standing there ready to start another drama, I decided to end it. I spoke calmly. "My leaving the country was exactly what you wanted, wasn't it? You pretended to be a victim, let me take the fall for you, take the hits for you. What's the problem? You got what you wanted. Aren't you happy?" The color drained from Maya's face. Her eyes were wide, her pale lips trembling. You knew." She gasped. "Nathan, I can explain." I shrugged. "But I'm not interested in hearing it." I took a step closer, enjoying a dark sense of satisfaction as I glanced past her at Adrian, who had just appeared at the end of the walkway. I lowered my voice, but loud enough for both of them to hear. "You posted pictures of your bloody sheets on Instagram for the world to see. What gives you the right to show up here and harass me? Maya, you're pathetic." I turned, walked inside, and called the security guards who lived nearby to have her removed. As I passed the living room window, I heard a furious shout from outside. "You're worthless. You've completely humiliated me." The sharp crack of a slap was audible even through the double-pane glass. In my peripheral vision, I saw Adrian covering his face, sobbing. I drew the curtains and sent a quick text to Sophia. "Busy. Thinking of you." The next time I saw Maya was at the welcome home party my friends threw for me. We were all adults now, and the conversation had shifted from high school drama to business deals and market trends. The atmosphere was relaxed with soft lighting and good cocktails. I was enjoying myself enough to stay a little later than planned when an uninvited guest walked in. The room fell silent for a beat. My friend leaned over and whispered, "Nathan, nobody invited her." I nodded. I figured as much. He breathed a sigh of relief, his voice laced with disdain. "Those two are social poison now. Her family's business is in the toilet, and their reputations are even worse. Especially Adrian. He's so possessive of Maya, it's insane. He acts suspicious of any woman who even looks at her." I glanced over. Sure enough, trailing behind Maya like a shadow was Adrian. When he saw me looking, he flinched instinctively, then shot me a venomous glare. Maya seemed oblivious, walking straight to the empty chair across from me and sitting down. As the others tried to restart the conversation, I decided I'd had enough and excused myself for the restroom. A few minutes later, the door opened behind me. Adrian Stone hadn't changed at all. Same trendy haircut, same carefully constructed sad boy expression, same pristine white shirt. A year had passed, but he was still mentally stuck in high school. He didn't understand that in our world, that innocent, fragile act had a shelf life. In this world, profit is everything. His emotional currency had been devalued, and he'd been discarded. It was that simple. Adrian's eyes were filled with jealous rage, like he wanted to tear me apart. "Nathan Cross," he spat, "you must feel pretty damn smug watching Maya still be so obsessed with you." I met his gaze in the mirror, silent. I was just tired. If shedding a few tears and spewing some dramatic lines counted as obsession, then Adrian's definition of love was seriously warped. A strange, triumphant smirk flickered across his face. "But I bet you didn't know, did you? The only reason you transferred in high school was because Maya couldn't stand seeing me get upset when you were around. She set the whole thing up. She was never being bullied. But you idiot, you took a beating for her." Ha ha. I remained calm because honestly, it didn't matter anymore. None of it mattered. Maya, Adrian, they were specters from a past that was receding further and further into the distance, and I knew with absolute certainty that I would leave them so far behind they'd never even be a blip on my radar again. My lack of reaction seemed to infuriate him. "What's with that look?" he snarled. "Why aren't you angry? What gives you the right to be so arrogant? What makes you so much better than me? Just because you were born rich? You're a pathetic loser who can't even hold on to his own girl." He was working himself into a frenzy, raising his arm to swing at me. Before his fist could connect, another hand shot out, grabbing his wrist and violently flinging him away. Sophia stepped in front of me, glaring down at Adrian, who was now sprawled on the floor. "I have you on video for assault and defamation against my fiancé. I've already called the police. You can tell your story to them." I looked at the strong, protective set of her shoulders and had to stop myself from smiling. She was clearly dressed to the nines to come see me. Her jewelry and the color of her dress perfectly complemented my own outfit. It was a little childish and utterly charming. The arrival of the police was not a quiet affair. My friends, wondering why I hadn't come back, heard the commotion and came out to see Adrian being handcuffed and led away. He struggled wildly, screaming, "Do you have any idea who I am? My wife is Maya Bennett, the sole heiress to the Bennett fortune. You can't touch me. Let me go. I need to find my wife." All eyes turned to Maya. But as she watched the men she had once protected so fiercely get arrested, her face was a blank, numb mask. She didn't move. She didn't say a word. The ultimate act of self-preservation. I took one last look, and in that moment, the bright, vibrant girl from my youth, the one I thought I knew, collapsed into dust and disappeared forever. It was late by the time we finished giving our statements at the police station, so I took Sophia back to my place. When I woke up the next morning, breakfast was already on the table. I leaned against the door frame, watching her rinse dishes at the sink. "Trying to impress me with your domestic skills?" I teased. She turned, a playful glint in her eye. "Well, I don't have a ring on my finger yet. I have to make a good impression on my man. Otherwise he might get angry and dump me." She tapped the tip of my nose, her tone light and teasing. I sighed, thinking of the way my friends had been shamelessly staring at her last night, their eyes full of gossip. I scrolled through my phone while I ate, and a headline made me laugh. "Speaking of a ring," I said, "your timing might be perfect." Splashed across the top of the trending news feed in bold letters, Cross Air involved in affair with married woman. And right below it, Cross's wild private life, mystery woman spends the night. 2 headlines back to back, a coordinated, vicious attack meant to ruin me. What Adrian probably didn't know is that private residences in wealthy neighborhoods tend to have excellent security cameras. Before the online outrage could even reach its peak, a new video started circulating. The footage clearly showed Maya, the Bennett heiress, refusing to leave my property and then physically accosting me as I tried to walk away. The Cross family's reputation was instantly cleared on that front, but the questions about the second headline persisted. Okay, but what about the wild private life part? He's a young, powerful exec at the Cross Corporation. Who knows what influencer he had sleeping over? Sophia went into a frenzy trying to create a Twitter account like her life depended on it. I watched her, amused by her frantic energy. It's fine. You don't have to rush. She paused just long enough to give me a serious kiss on the forehead. You don't deserve to be slandered by anyone. Ping. A notification popped up on my phone. Sophia Loren started following you. I looked down. Her account was already verified, a blue check mark sitting next to her name. A moment later, a new tweet appeared from her account. Hello everyone. On behalf of the Loren Group, I'd like to formally thank the future chairman of our board for his hospitality last night. At Nathan Cross. The internet went silent for a full second, and then it exploded. Sophia looked up at me, her face a perfect picture of innocence. I sighed, leaned in, and kissed her. The merger between the Cross Corporation and the Loren Group proceeded smoothly. 3 years later, Sophia and I were married. We chose a small historic town in Europe for the ceremony, a place where every house had colorful wind chimes hanging from its porch. When the breeze blew, the whole town would fill with a chorus of gentle chiming sounds, like 1,000 tiny blessings. Near the end of the reception, a gift arrived. There was no name on the card, but everyone recognized the Bennett family crest on the box. After Sophia officially took over the Loren Group, she had launched a relentless, systematic campaign against the Bennett business empire. If the Bennett Corporation was a crumbling skyscraper before, after Sophia was done with it, it was nothing but a pile of rubble. She would never forgive the family that had betrayed her mother, and I, without hesitation, had helped her, sometimes even taking things a step further. I would never forgive the people who had betrayed me. The Bennett name meant nothing in our world anymore. So to receive a wedding gift from Maya of all people was a surprise. I opened the box. Inside, resting on a bed of velvet, was a dazzling purple diamond ring. A forgotten memory from my 18th year suddenly surfaced. It was after a practice exam. I was helping Maya go over her mistakes. Back then, my world revolved around her. I was explaining a calculus problem while simultaneously daydreaming about a future that had her in it. But I wasn't the only one who was distracted. Maya was just staring at me, her expression so sincere it couldn't have been faked. Nathan, she asked softly, what kind of rings do you like? The question felt so adult, so significant that we both blushed. After a long moment, I whispered, purple. I think I've always liked purple. Her voice was just as quiet. Okay, I'll remember that. The sound of cicadas hummed outside, and in that perfect, fleeting moment, I thought about forever. Their company is in ruins and she's sending you purple diamonds, Sophia said, her voice unusually sharp. She must have emptied her entire bank account for that. It was rare to hear Sophia sound so catty. I looked at her, her jealousy amusingly transparent, and smiled. Here, I said, tossing the ring box to her. Donate it to a charity or something. 16-year-old Sophia Loren hadn't cared about my family status. She was just visiting the States to help her mother with some business and happened to see the boy next door at her father's old house. She happened to overhear the boy's mother saying, "Purple is our Nathan's favorite color." Oh, that's wonderful. Purple is so elegant. It's my favorite too. On a whim, Sophia stayed a few extra days and had a purple wind chime shipped from overseas. During those 2 days, she watched as the illegitimate daughter in her father's house accidentally hurt herself just to get the boy's attention and sympathy. She watched as the boy became more and more protective of his so-called stepsister. A seed of jealousy had been planted in Sophia's heart. On the day she was leaving, she impulsively knocked on the boy's door and gave him the wind chime. She couldn't stop herself from saying something she later regretted, something bold and a little rude. 16-year-old Nathan Cross just stood there, not angry at all. He just said softly, "Have a safe trip." And now here we were, happy, content, and with a lifetime ahead of us. The wind chimes in our suite sang softly as the evening breeze drifted through the open windows. Sophia sat beside me, her hand in mine, and for the first time in years, I felt truly at peace. "Do you ever think about her?" Sophia asked quietly, her eyes searching mine. I looked at my wife, this incredible woman who had chosen me not out of obligation or convenience, but out of genuine love and respect. "No," I said honestly. "Not anymore. That part of my life is over. You're my present and my future." Sophia smiled, that warm, genuine smile that had captured my heart all those years ago. "Good answer, Mr. Cross." I pulled her closer, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "You know what I think about?" "What?" "That 16-year-old girl who knocked on my door with a purple wind chime. The one who was brave enough to tell me I'd eventually choose her. She was right." Sophia laughed softly, her eyes glistening with happy tears. "I was so nervous that day. I thought you'd think I was crazy. I thought you were fascinating," I admitted. "Even then, there was something about you. Something real." We sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars emerge one by one over the European countryside. In the distance, I could hear the celebration continuing, our friends and family enjoying the night. "Nathan," Sophia said after a while, "thank you." "For what?" "For waiting. For finding your way to me. For letting go of what wasn't meant to be." I squeezed her hand. "Thank you for being patient. For being yourself. For showing me what real love looks like." The wind chimes sang their gentle song, a melody of new beginnings and old promises finally kept. Somewhere in the world, Maya Bennett was probably still clinging to memories of what could have been. But here, in this moment, I was exactly where I was meant to be. With Sophia. With someone who had always seen me for who I truly was. With someone who never made me beg for scraps of affection or question my worth. And as we walked back to join our guests, hand in hand, I realized that the best revenge wasn't destruction or bitterness. It was building something beautiful with someone who deserved it. It was happiness, pure and uncomplicated. The purple diamond ring Maya had sent would help fund a scholarship for underprivileged students. At least some good would come from that chapter of my life. As for us, we had wind chimes to hang, a company to build, and a lifetime of mornings waking up next to each other. And that, I thought as Sophia laughed at something our friend said, her face glowing with joy, was more than enough. It was everything.